Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, Giants fam? Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I am Mike. That is Jules. John is on vacation. He took the week off. He's going to Jamaica. Keep it hot.
Jamaica, man.
I think he says he's on vacation, but I think he's just going there to build like a factory to sell weed out of. That's my biggest guess. But,
he's trying to see if we can start importing that shit from there, right?
Yeah, he's going to speak to me, importer, exporter. So he's doing that. But slow week in football, I guess, in some ways. Rookie camp start, all that bullshit. But what topics, Jules, we got this week?
Well, it's funny. I mean, yeah, it was a slow week for the NFL, right? Who's in the offseason, except with the exception of the rookie OTAs and the actual OTAs for the whole team starting this week. But relatively quiet. You're not really going to get much news out of from the OTAs. However, though, dude, there was like what seven game sevens over the weekend between the NBA and the NHL. I mean, like sports was on an all-time high in general. I mean, you had the Yankees sweeping the White Sox. You had seven. Seven has got to be a freaking record. Fucking game sevens over the weekend. Yeah, Chelsea and Liverpool upsetting them for our soccer fans. I mean, bro, this was an action-packed sports weekend. Unfortunately, just not a lot of things going on with the New York Giants.
I think I seen Drake. I think Drake hit a bet, like a parlay of the game sevens. And he hit for like $2.5 million. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yes.
I think it was on DraftKings or some shit.
Oh my God, dude. Well, one thing that we didn't cover, was going over the schedule, right? So we got the schedule, we got the OTAs to talk about. And one thing I'll add into the OTAs a little later on is how people ignored it, and we were hearing so much talk about it. And yet there's a certain first rounder from a certain NFL team that literally couldn't make it to practice. But that's what's up to come in this evening's Big Blue Offensive Podcast. So Mike, I don't know, man. Let's go. What do you want to do? You want to start and go down, like take a quick look at this Giants schedule and opening in Tennessee. So our predictions of what was it supposed to be, Minnesota? We're a little off, and ended up being Tennessee. I guess to go from there, right?
Not a bad game to start the season in Tennessee. Nice little vacation spot. A good way to shock Tennessee be week one instead of letting them get on a roll. And then you have to face them mid-season. So I'm kind of happy it's actually first game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm kind of with it too. You're right, because Tennessee has been weird, right? Like 2 years ago, they started off really slow and then went on fire. Last year, I'm trying to remember what they did last year. I felt like last year they didn't come out the gate firing, but then they just went on that run where they won like 10 straight or something crazy. Yeah. So Tennessee really does feel like a team you could catch sleeping. However, they still have a pretty good defense. They still got Derrick Henry. They're still at home. Listen, I understand they lost A.J. Brown, but,
got Malik Willis now, Jules.
Yeah, I know. I know. Malik the Freak, right?
They're saving. Yeah, imagine Tannehill has a shit week one against the Giants defense, and then they're already claiming for this kid to start. That'd be fucking terrific.
Well, listen, I mean, look, you know what? In all honesty with that, right? Like, I mean, again, Derrick Henry, right? They do have Derrick Henry. So that is kind of scary. That guy's just a beast. But right now, I mean, you're looking at like Robert Woods being their number one receiver. I mean, he's a good receiver, don't get me wrong. He started out in Buffalo, went to the Rams and kind of blew up, and now he found himself on Tennessee. And of course, the shocking trade of AJ Brown to our fucking Eagles. Mm-hmm. To get this to get that rookie pick, and then there's a couple of guys. So with the exception being that we don't have a real number one corner, or maybe Adoree Jackson steps up, it's going to be interesting to see, because that this is a team that's going to be run first, pass second, and I think our secondary could go with them. I don't know. I don't know if our offense will be ready to go. I don't know if we're going to be clicking on all cylinders. Who knows, right? Who knows what you're going to get. But I mean, you're right. I mean, it could be an upset game. It could. I think we're 6.5 point underdog for that.
Yeah, 6.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I'm not betting it. I'm not counting on it. I'm rooting. It's the best game to go to. Hint, hint. We may have to make a, and this is why we're spending a little extra time on this, but we might have to make a road trip down there, man. That might be the game. Just get it out of the way. It's the first game. The Giants are still undefeated at this point.
I was down in Nashville for the NFL draft, and that shit was fucking terrific, man. So if we go there undefeated and they go 1-0, man, that'd be a fucking great start to this year, man. Let me tell
Listen,
you.
I saw a lot of Bills Mafia. They basically took
They run
over.
that place.
They
Yeah.
took over Tennessee last year when they were down there. So, it's a fun town, a city, whatever, like you said, and it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see that from there. But, then we open up the following week, right? And we're opening up at home over there against who we up against? Carolina, right? It's the very next week. Look, I know they feel they improved, and I'm sure all Carolina fans feel they improved. So did we. I could really see the Giants being 1-1. After 2, I don't know.
That could happen. I could see that. And then I could see 13-4 the rest of the way, just looking at the rest of the schedule.
Yeah,
you know where I'm going.
And I'm going to stop you right there for like a half a second, right? Like, one thing that you have to kind of keep in mind is that we all sort of agreed that, look, I want to see what I could see out of this year and this season, but at the same time, I'm optimistic, and at the same time, I'm not, right? Because if we were looking in from the outside and we weren't Giants fans, what the hell is so scary about this team? What, you might get Barkley played against you for 4 or 5 games and we'd be clowning on it. It's like the same way we look at the Eagles backfield, Miles Sanders, or the Cowboys, and the fact that, like, Ezekiel Elliott ain't what he used to be, right? And you start looking at the Washington and you look at like Antonio Gibson, and then they went out and drafted another guy. Now they got like a running back committee there in Washington with Carson Wentz, and we're always laughing at it. They get AJ Brown, and hopefully Devonta Smith for them takes the next step, right? Because that's what the anticipation is. But it's like, we clown on Jalen Hurts all the time. We're like, that dude's terrible. Like, you ain't gonna fucking do anything, right? So we always do this. But if we weren't Giants fans, how could you sit here and really look and be like, Daniel Jones? Oh man, I'm terrified of that guy. Well, let me tell you something. That guy is even going to play week 1. So we have our flaws too. I mean, let's not forget. I think we had all of 2 touchdowns from our wide receivers last season. Well, I think there was a couple of garbage ones down the very stretch to just random guys. But dude, really, like, out of the starting guys that were supposed to be on wide receivers, 2 touchdowns. Darius Slayton. That's it. Nothing from Tony, nothing from Galladay. And I don't remember if Shep caught a bullshit one or not, but that was it, bro. That's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing.
It's weird. You know what the funny thing about sports is that anything can happen. You always get excited about like a team this year. And in the NFL, there's always a team that just comes out of nowhere, plays well, gets in the playoffs, and sometimes goes deep in there and sometimes go on a magical run. Just like the Giants did, like, in their Super Bowl runs, pretty much.
At least the first.
They just have to get in there. So maybe it really was just the offensive line holding this team back. So what if they go in there and the offensive line is gelling and they can run the ball on people, they can pass the ball on people, and they have a solid defense with a pass rush? I mean, listen, I don't know. You never know, man. What if this team shocks the world and just fucking does stuff? No. And then, imagine the headlines and all the fucking greatness that would be. Giants Nation would be so fucking happy. It would just be like, I don't know, it'd just be a magical. I would love a magical run, man, where they just shock people. And then, if you look at the schedule, I mean, it's pretty easy schedule if you look at it on paper. And we're playing division a lot, like we normally do. So hey, we could beat these teams.
I mean, look, all right. So we actually host Dallas on Monday night, the following week after we open.
Got to go there.
Realistically, let's say we lose, right? Let's just go with that. We say we're at 1-2 after 3, right? And just because if everything you're saying that you want this offensive line to gel, you want to be able to run the ball, you want to be able to throw the ball, you want to be able to do all these different things, there's going to be some growing pains. And if you're looking on paper or you're looking at a team that is literally, a couple of minutes away from advancing in the playoffs, they're the more ready team. Yes, I know they don't have Amari Cooper right now, and they made some moves to replace him and everything else, but they still have a lot of talent. They're the team to beat in the NFC East, right? Because that's just how it goes. Whoever wins the division is automatically got the bullseye on their back. So because we may not be what you're saying that team is, for the first month of the season. I mean, let's be real, dude. Like, I understand Kafka and Dable might be gelling together in practice and they're putting in what they want to see and they're getting the things done together. And they are coming from two powerhouse juggernaut offenses.
Yep.
It's still going to take some time to gel. Like, it's not going to just happen overnight where all of a sudden, Daniel Jones is throwing for 350 yards a game, 3 touchdowns, and Barkley's running for 100. Like, it's just not going to happen out the gate. So if we're gonna chip on Dallas, we're gonna catch them. It's gonna be later in the season. I think they get us early just for that reason and that reason only.
Hey, listen, this team like a couple years back, they played a lot of like one possession games. You know what I mean?
They did.
So, if they get back to that, and they had a lot less talent that if they just, if they have everything fall into place, I mean, you never know. So.
I
That's
got
all I
my
gotta say
1 and
about
2,
this.
but then we play the Bears again. I feel like the Bears are now part of the NFC East, and at least this time they finally traveled to New York because I feel like we played them like 4 years in a row in Chicago.
Yeah, you can't lose against these loser teams. You just can't.
I agree with you there. That's what I agree. Look, I understand people are thinking that Justin Fields takes the next step. They do have Darnell Mooney. They do have David Montgomery. He's a pretty good running back. He's good. I'm not saying he's great, but he's a good running back. They have a defense that should be improved a little bit. New coach. So to me, that's a coin flip. And in that situation there, if the Giants are 1 and 2 going into that game, I could easily see them evening up on the season and going at 2 and 2. It's a very, very easy and logical, strong possibility. And these games could play out anyway. We could get lucky and chip off against the Cowboys. Yep. We can get lucky and steal one game week 1 because sometimes week 1 you can take it from a team if that team just isn't 100% prepared. Who knows? But it's very possible, and I'm really trying my best not to come out as a homer because I know you and John will be running off on that. But I can see the Giants being 2 and 2 after this. Real simple.
Right. I'm seeing 4-0, but okay.
We go to the international game against the Packers.
Here we go. London, right?
Unfortunately, to our listeners out there, the UK, I don't know if I can make it happen this year. It sucks. I really wanted to go. We'll see. All right. Like as of now, it's definitely a coin toss between the layup that Tennessee is, and then really pulling a few extra strings, making sure I get my passport in order, flying all the way across the pond out there to England. And I don't know.
A lot of work.
I'm 50-50. Like I was still holding on to the dream, but the likelihood is a little diminished at this point. However, I would love to run out there if I could. With all that said, look, that Packers team, they could run, they could play D, they got Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I get it. It's international, but you know what? I think we take the L there. Giants are at 2 and 3 after 5.
Yeah, it's still Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yeah,
they got a sick team.
Yeah,
not just Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? They got every defense, run game. Yeah, they got it. They got it all.
They got everything going on. Then we come back home and on a quick turnaround, basically, because we decided not to take the bye, and now we're flying back into New York to face. I mean, granted, we're at home, but we're facing the Ravens.
Yeah,
who I would imagine are going to have their 3 running backs that they had loaded up for last year all healthy now.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, fine. Wink isn't there anymore, but they went out and they made some really nice moves in draft day. They improved that D. They improved that offensive line, which was the reason why Lamar Jackson was running for his life the whole time. Yeah, dude. I mean, I could literally see the Giants at 2 and 4 through the first 6. That's just the reality there. Could they be 3 and 3? Yes, but then they need to chip one of those games that they weren't supposed to win, and they still got to win those other 2 that they have to win, right? And realistically, new squad, new team, still gelling. I think they could pull out 2 of the first 6. They're 2 and 4 after 6.
Yeah, the Ravens, granted they are at home, but coming back from an overseas trip like that and not taking the bye week, which they declined the option, which was so weird. But that's gonna be a tough game for the Giants with the Ravens coming to town.
Unless somehow the Ravens get banged up early, I really don't see us taking that one. However, the following week, we fly down to Jacksonville. And I got some personal bets with some people that have been listening. So we'll see if any of these bets actually take any kind of like truth to them, because it might be some fun shit where that if the Giants do go down there, I got to wear Jacksonville shit on the podcast for the rest of the season. So there's some of these type of things that are being tossed around. We'll finalize it as the summer goes because we get further into it.
I'll just blur the video if I have to keep seeing that kind of thing.
Hey, listen, but with that said, I am so confident that the Giants are going to go down to Jacksonville and kick their ass. I don't know why. listen, if you look at it on paper, right? Like technically, why would we be superior to them? We're not, right? You know, we thought that we were going to go down to Miami last year and win. I'm telling you right now, Brian Dable remembers basically losing a terrible game in Jacksonville last year with the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
All right. So that's still got to be somewhat sour on him. And for one of the main facts that they went down there and had one of their worst offensive performances over the last 3 seasons in Jacksonville. So it literally didn't make any sense. I understand now it's Doug Peterson. I understand they made improvements. They got Evan Ingram on that team. I really think the Giants go down there and they handle them. I really do. I like utmost confidence. Giants are at 3-4 out of 7.
Jules, what was that noise before in the background? Was that thunder?
That was thunder.
Yeah, I thought I heard that.
See me jerk a little bit and get a little nervous. I thought I was about to dive down. Gunshots were going off, but no, that was thunder. So
dude, that's what you get for telling the Giants are losing like these games. That's what you get, man. That's fucking bad karma right there.
It was when I was making my prediction that they were going to go down and kick Jacksonville's ass, and then the thunder came out. I was like, "Bam, you're damn right, you know."
All right. I can see that too, but I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the other way. I think God hates me. God's a Giant fan. You don't like hearing the Giants lose. All right. So what's the next game? I think it's an easy win in Jacksonville.
Well, and then we go out to Seattle, and like people have Seattle
hate that trip
easily beating us. Granted, I understand you got to go all the way out to the West Coast, and Seattle's a long flight.
All that shit.
And they're gonna still have Pete Carroll. They're still gonna have a pretty good defense. They're gonna probably be able to run the ball well. But they don't have Russ Wilson. Like guys are gonna wake up and realize it's a big thing. Like right now, we don't even know who the quarterback is. Drew Lock or some shit. Like I don't know. No, unless something emerges or somebody that we're not even like aware of as a backup or something steps up. Hell, fucking no. So I'm gonna go in and say that after 8 games, this New York Giants football team will be 4-4.
4-4. Okay. I can roll with that. Yep. I can roll with that.
4-4. I'm not saying that they're gonna, and say we're winning the division. No, but if you go through that schedule, there are 4 games that they can absolutely win. 4 that'll be challenging. And generally speaking, yeah, maybe you don't win all those 4 winnable games, but if you take 3 of the 4 and you split one of the other 4s, you're at 4-4.
Hey, listen, a playoff team now with the 7th spot, you could be right around 500. So it's nothing to sneeze at.
Now, look, man, this is where shit gets really weird, because in the next 2 weeks is home against Texas and home against Detroit.
Oof, 2 losers.
Dude, I mean, could Detroit upset us? Yes, they could. They absolutely could. They say what you want. They still put together some scares into teams late last season. There was a couple of games that they blew in the 4th quarter. Yep. They're a year old. They're a year more in. They have, they improved their offense, which you would think a little bit more. Now they have like what could be arguably the best pass rusher in the draft.
Right.
So I mean, they are better.
A different team. Yeah.
They are better. So
and they're well coached.
I don't know if we take Detroit down like that. You know what I mean? Like to say that we should run them. I don't know. It's just that you're at home, so it's going to be tough. I'm going to split it again, and I'm going to say that after 10 games, the Giants are 5-5.
They're well coached, and they got a legit offense for Goff to.
They do.
You know what I mean?
It's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. So listen, if DeAndre Swift stays healthy for them, they got a great offensive line. They improved on the defense. I mean, they were a better team. Like that game's going to be tight. It's not like we're going to walk on Detroit. I doubt it. So that's why I put the Giants after 10 at 5-5.
They're not your usual losers. They're different this year.
Now we go into the division, and it's literally at Dallas, home against the Commanders, at home against the Eagles.
6-0, baby. 6-0.
So like the way I look at this, I don't know. Maybe Dallas does take it to us this year. I don't know. I don't know.
They beat us twice. I could see us honestly going like 1-1 because it's division, and that's how we usually go.
Right.
So that's why, like, if we lose to like the Eagles the first time, I'll always bet the Giants the next time they face the Eagles. You know what I mean? That's how I do with this. It's always with this division. So I'll take like a 3-on-3. I'll keep it real with that aspect.
I just think that Dallas catching us so early in the season that is going to benefit them, I think, right? Yeah. Just because now if we're already 10 games into the year, and I'm not looking at the Cowboys schedule, but they have to be at least at 6-4, 7-3. All right, if they're this team, they have to be okay. And if they're right on that bubble, where they're at the 7-3 mark or the 6-4, even, you know that Philly will be there somewhere in the neighborhood of 5-5. We're at 5-5. It's just going to be a tremendous game. They're at home that they just cannot lose. You know how the Dallas calls come into play. Like, I can see the Giants going to 5-6. However, I think they get a little bit of payback against Washington the following week to go up to 6-6. I can't stand the Eagles, and if they're coming in, I could see the Giants at 7-6 after 13. All right. With that said, then it could get tough again. I don't know if we sweep the Commanders, right? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Say we split, we're at 7-7. We get to Minnesota, Indianapolis, and the Eagles. And this is where we come with that again. Minnesota, Indianapolis, and the Eagles.
Yeah.
Here's where we get to that 8 wins. That's exactly where I keep seeing this Giants football team, 7-8 wins. I mean, they could get to 9. Absolute ceiling to me would be 10. I just don't think that's really reachable or imaginable. I still got my 7-8 wins. The schedule tells you how and why. And that's just where I'm standing with things as of right now today.
I take it back. I think we could sweep the Commanders because they don't really scare me. The other
that
two
gets us to 8.
About.
That's what gets us to that 8, maybe 9 threshold, but I don't know. Look, I mean,
I just want meaningful games in December.
That's
really
fair.
all I want.
That's fair. That is fair. I mean, look, 5-5 gets you pretty damn close. I mean, you're ready at week 10. I mean, you're right on the bubble there, right? And I said we squeeze it out. We could possibly be 6-8 at that point, maybe going into week 14, right? I mean, where you win another 2 games, you're back to 500. It's just that there's a couple games down the stretch. Like the Colts they're going to be better. Matt Ryan's a hell of a quarterback. You know what? He's going to make that team better. They have probably arguably the best pure running back because of his age in Jonathan Taylor. Not so much, obviously I still think Derrick Henry's like the king, but still, Jonathan Taylor's a young buck coming up. So he's the guy, you know what I mean? So, you have all that going on there. And then, of course, Minnesota just got better on defense. They went out, they got Booth Jr. as that another corner to go there, and that's secondary for them. They have 2 dynamic wide receivers. Like they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out. So, I don't know. That's where I stand. Like I said, I've been saying that, that 7.5 mark that Vegas has us at is right on the money. Just because they throw that half game in there, it's so on the money because 7 wins is where they could be. And it's like, if they hit the 7, you lose by a half a game and you need them to get 8, which, man, it's going to be right there for us this year. That's it. I mean, that's the reality with what I think. Unless, look, could the wheels fall off? Could Barkley get hurt again? Could Jones not play, play half a season? Could we be down to friggin', our 6th, 5th and 6th wide receivers, Absolutely. I mean, that kind of shit can always happen. You know what I mean? And, it could take us a couple of weeks to gel, right? We could start off the season, and lose to Carolina, and lose to the Cowboys because we're gelling and we're trying to get this team together. And we're starting on 0-3 hole. And granted, that's only one less loss, right? Only one less win for me in my eyes, right? And then that first win might come week 4. So I don't know, that's just where I see it. Look, I don't want to be, over the top optimistic. I do think we're going to see an improvement in the team overall. Just that I just need to temper expectations slightly because I've been saying, and I'm going to continue to say this, I don't think the Giants are really going to be ready to compete for that division, but it will be very soon. And when I say very soon, my prediction is by 2023, again, unless the wheels fall off, which I don't think they will, because literally the only thing that needs to fall off is Barkley and Jones. That's it. And Galladay. Like the rest of the wheels have been fixed. You know what I mean? We're ready to roll with what we got, So like you would need those 3 guys to absolutely become failures. And then we really have to worry about it. But if not, then what I'm thinking, you're either replacing, like I keep saying, either Barkley or Jones next year, because it's gonna happen. And then you're rolling into that season where you're gonna make some noise. And by 2024, we should be a piece or 2 away.
That's crazy talk. I just don't want the Giants season to be over by Halloween. But let's take a quick commercial break and we'll get into it with the rest of the podcast, the Hater Club, some OTAs. We'll be right back on the BBO NYG podcast. All right, we are back on the BBO NYG podcast. I'm Mike. That's Jules. Jules, what's up next?
So, Mike, I don't know. I think you've been itching for this topic, and I know you love it. Let's bring in the Haters Club.
Welcome all you ignorant ass bitches, critics, complainers, disgruntled rappers and racist especially, to the 9th Annual International Player Haters Ball. Oh man, hate.
Oh, Haters Club time. Gotta love the Haters Club, right?
Always. Although
So,
I haven't really, PFF. I think they finally they backed down a little bit because I did see Daniel Jones getting grouped into like, will he be one of the like step up quarterbacks this year? So all right,
that's
there,
what-
fucking PFF. I guess my tweets have been working.
That's
you guys
what
have paid
happens.
attention on the low.
That's what happens when you get nominated in the Haters Club, man. They gotta fucking recognize. So for people that's been listening, you know what the deal is. People come at us with hater debate. This time was at the BBL MYG podcast on Twitter. This goes back, let's see, a couple months. This guy replied to me. You all know him. His name is Will. He's at 27. He's the the Barkley, he calls Barkley a mascot, I believe. He did not like the pick. He talks about it for pretty much every day for 4 years. So I had a tweet up that I tweeted like from September 2nd, 2021, right? This goes back a little bit. So I wrote this on behalf of the Big Blue Offensive. I wrote, Dave Gutterman came here and we had a crap secondary. Fix that. We had a pass rush. Fix that. We had no pass rush. Fix that. We had no linebackers. Fix that. We had no weapons on offense. Fix that. And he invested in the O-line help. Anything else, Gettleman haters? That's what I wrote. All right. Obviously, that tweet didn't age well. But he's pulling. So he sent a little gif with the guy from The Office, Michael Scott, giving like a weird face. I mean, this fucking from September 2nd, 2021. I'm like, all right, guy. I'm like, so I shouted him out, like, come on the podcast, all that shit. But he's nominated as my Haters Club for just coming out with hate from a tweet going back more than 14, 50 months ago. You know what I mean? So he's my nominee.
Well, you said 14, 15 months ago.
Well,
just to clarify, you said September 9th, 2021.
Yeah, how long ago was that, Jules?
So yeah, I mean, just kind of spitballing it out there real quick.
Do the math.
Just looking like that third quarter, fourth quarter, first quarter. So maybe around 9 months.
All right, 9 months. I was close. That's still a long time.
Maybe. I'm stretching there. I'm just trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
That's a whole pregnancy, right?
But it was definitely, to be fair, right at the start of last year, going into the first week of the year. You're going in fully optimistic. You're thinking you're going to beat Denver. There's no way you were going to lose to Denver at home. I remember saying all this. I said, we might. But, we were there. Then the wheels fell off after Washington. But, listen, I get it. You're optimistic. You're going in. You're feeling good about your team. Like,
okay, fine. I was wrong. But to come after me a whole fucking 9 months later.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
To come after you. And it's like,
just to add the knife. Just to put the knife in.
He must have been bored because it's like, at this point in time, we're in April. We're past the draft. We're in OTAs. We did all these things. We have a whole new regime in there. We literally gutted out the entire offensive line except for Andrew Thomas. And we brought in a whole brand new offensive line. We went out and got a rookie wide receiver in the second round. We took a tackle in the first round with a top pick. We went and got another pass rush. I mean,
I was excited. Right.
What else? And now you want to talk about Gettleman? We don't even know what Gettleman is. He's probably down in Florida playing golf or something or whatever he likes to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. So yeah.
So at 27, you got nominated to be in the Haters Club. People went after hate. That's his shtick, though. He likes to go after people's receipts, his old, people's old tweets, and just kind of be like, that one asshole that kind of just wants to kind of get you with that knife a little bit, just a quick little stab. So just to get you a little agitated where it's like, oh shit, I want to fucking kill you. It's a funny shtick. It's a funny shtick, but he actually got a little taste of his own medicine, not too long ago on here. They were pulling up his tweets about, he was using the N-word, not the ER version. He was saying we would say if we're talking to friends or we're rapping a song. So he had that in his couple of tweets or whatever. I didn't find that at all, nothing wrong with that, to be honest with you. These cancel culture people are crazy. So I got to stick up for him in that regard. But he said something about Asians and being stuck behind an Asian when, how the Asians are terrible driving, apparently, Like I didn't apparently, like, you know what I'm saying? So allegedly. So he said some shit about that. So people were going, this is no joke. They were pulling his tweets from like 2009, 2010. I'm
Damn.
like, yo, that's some hardcore. Like, you got to be nuts to look up his old fucking shit and be like, hating him on that. But listen, maybe he got a taste of his own medicine. Maybe he wants to chill with going out and other people, because you never know, man. People just pull up your fucking past tweets for saying some stupid jokes.
And you know what's crazy about a lot of these haters, dude, is that like the fact is we're always saying, come on the show, present your side of the argument or your opinion, which everyone's entitled to, and just defend it a little. Defend it on air where
That's
you're not
it.
sitting back, just shooting out like a little message or just trying to pinpoint something to just kind of get the other person, a little agitated or mad or whatever the case may be. Come on and talk. If you really believe that strongly in that opinion and you want to display it where you have to go after people on Twitter and you're bringing up something from 9 months ago,
Well,
bring it up on the show.
I did,
We don't
Jules.
hide.
I did talk to Will though when we were on Giants Brawl. He came on an episode with Anthony and the Podfather. You
Okay.
say Koshal. And yeah, he's not a bad dude. Like we talked to him, we had a good time on the podcast. I was fucking saying how much I love Barkley, blah, blah, blah. He was going at me with that. So it made for a good podcast. But if he wants to come on again, like I'd love to have him on, especially talking about Barkley and my love for him. And I can't wait to just have, not to just prove Will wrong, but like everybody else, like, when Barkley blows up next year and then hopefully they extend him, it would just make me so fucking ecstatic. I would pull receipts on everybody and go after everybody. You know what I mean? But that's
you can pull your first receipt here because I'm the one that's saying that Barkley will not be on the 2023 roster, right?
Oh yeah, you're already on my list. You made my list already. Come on.
All right, so just so you know.
Haters Club, Jules.
Haters Club. I'm already in it. I already know this. Like, look,
but now next week you gotta come out with a hater. All right,
I'm gonna try to find one. Every time I feel like I'm getting into it with some of these guys, they smooth it all out at the end. Like it all gets like real nice and jelly, and I'm like,
you still got to go after him. You got to go.
Like where I had one thing going where this guy, one of the guys out there was basically saying that 6 wins was the Giants' max, and I'm like, dude, what? So I was like, bro, I see us at like 7-8. He's like, well, what's your floor? I'm like, yeah, I guess my floor might be 6, but that's your ceiling. I'm like,
it's a terrible ceiling.
That's a little low, dude. Like, come on.
That's a ceiling for midgets.
Yeah, for real. So, but that was it. Like, other than that, it was just, I'll get it. It'll come. I know there'll be some haters out there that are going to hate on Jules, just that they know. Maybe they just know that you're more of that homer type where I'm not. And I'm like, I do hate on certain Giants players. I mean, I've done it forever. I've hated always on someone on the team. Just always do, always will. Like, that's just, there's no one that's above it. There's no one that's above the criticism. And ain't nobody, a 4-star friggin' athlete player out there that can't do anything wrong, never makes a mistake, and has, the all great season. So, yeah.
6 wins, that's his fucking ceiling, right?
I know.
Dude, that's no joke. That's a ceiling for midgets, not Giants. Giants would fucking break that fucking ceiling. Like, come on, man.
I mean, 6 is a little bit much. I mean, that
hate. Yo, bring him on next week. Nominated.
That's Michael R. That's Michael R. at Doughboy Fresh. All right. So,
there you go.
He's a good dude, but like, it was a little bit much. He was like saying 6. I'm like, 6? No, come on, bro.
Wow.
Like Vegas got us at 7-8, so he's like, I should probably slam the under. Yeah, go for it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That was pretty much it. Like I said, with the Rangers, and obviously if you're watching on YouTube, you see Michael decked out in some Ranger hat, shirt rather that he's representing. I got the Yankee one on. I mean, New York sports is slowly turning. I know nobody's really seeing it at this current moment, but like, yeah, you got to focus in on baseball. You got 2 New York teams in first place. You got the Rangers moving on to play Carolina in the next round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. New York is turning. People like, I think it was RG3 came out in on like one of the shows he's on and whatnot, and said that the Jets might surprise people and actually have a really good stacked team. I mean, New York is back. I mean, then let's not forget, our cousins to the north, even though they're in the West, Western New York, we got Buffalo too, and they're the number 1 favorites to win this goddamn thing this year. So. New York is back. That's all I'm saying. And that's why I keep saying to Giants fans, look, this year may not be our year, and that's expected. All right, for those those haters out there, or the ones that just can't see fucking better days.
Yeah.
Yes, I think better days are definitely ahead, but I'm not saying that it's going to be this year. I don't see us going out there and winning, 10, 12 games this year. It's not happening. I mean, if it does, that's just ridiculousness. But,
Then the world's ending.
Yeah. It's not exactly the world's ending. Like that lightning's going to hit again. It's a wrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's kind of it with that. But one of the things that now swinging into something that I wanted to talk about, which is kind of interesting, right? Especially that we open up in Tennessee and we spent the whole time breaking down their offense and everything else. And a surprising move, which we're all aware of at this point in time, they traded away AJ Brown to move up to the 18th pick overall to take Treylon Burks of Arkansas. And look, we can go through that all day long. The kid might be really good. I know people had him high on the draft board, after maybe like the first 3 names or so that you can jumble around. He was like 4th or 5th on that list. I have seen lists that high with him. Some even where he snuck into being like the number 3 receiver pick. There's always going to be that kind of stuff. The kid isn't bad. He's a good player. However, there's footage everywhere that you could see. And it was what? OTAs, right? Oh, they don't mean anything. Oh my God, it's just practice. And the dude in like 82-degree weather was dogging it. He couldn't take it. He was like, he had to leave the practice field. He was so out of shape. Now, look, he's got like 18 solid weeks to get in shape for the preseason. He can work his balls off. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. But that's the reality there, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You're putting in your 4th new offense, basically, in as many years with the New York Giants, or 3rd, whatever the hell it is, right at this point. And you got all these new guys there. They're gelling together because there's a new coaching staff all working with one another. You got a new GM. You got all these new, and you don't think that these practices are important? I mean, look, after we had all that nonsense going on with Tony, and I guess him waking the hell up because I'm on Team Robinson. We all know it is Wendell, but he's coming to camp. Now everybody's there. Everybody's showing up. We're going to these OTAs. They're all playing. Everybody's looking all right. Like certain guys, they're buying in. They're excited to learn Wink Martindale's system on defense. They're excited to see what Dable and Kafka are going to come up with together on offense. I mean, bro, that's the type of shit you want to see. And there's been some really, I don't know, takeaways, how much you really take away from the OTAs and everything else. I don't know. It's cool to see who's there. It's cool to see guys taking this seriously. It's just tough to say, like, if I should really be paying attention to what some of these players are doing. I mean, I know our tight end that we drafted in the 4th round, killing it. He's killing it right now.
He's making plays.
He's making plays. And the good thing with him is he doesn't have to come out and start.
I don't care where it is, Jules. If he's making plays in the parking lot, at OTAs, wherever, like if he's making plays, if he's standing out, dude, that's huge.
Right. And
that because when you're doing practice, you're doing the game, and that's going to get there. It's going to transition easily.
I mean, apparently Tyrod Taylor was looking pretty good and running like his old self again. Even had Webb going out there and throwing some touchdowns to some of the younger guys, like my boy Wendell, right? And I already told you, I'm Team Wendell. Fuck Tony. We'll see who has a better season.
They really like Webb. They really like Webb.
I know they like Webb a lot. Actually, yeah. I mean, look, I don't like
dark horse candidate. I'm telling you.
It's a weird thing with Webb and everything else, right? He was with Buffalo for a couple of seasons, so he does have an idea of this offensive system. He was with the Giants, so he's got some familiarity not only with some of the coaches, but also with the team, facilities. Yeah. So all that kind of stuff is there. I mean, look, if it's Jones that ends up with the axe this coming next year, right? If anyone, but if it's him, is it terrible to think that you may have to run with like a Tyrod Taylor, maybe Webb sneaks in for a little bit so that the quarterback that you draft doesn't have to come in and play week 1? Like think about it. A lot of people were saying that but like the reason why the Jet fans, let's say, for example, should be a lot more optimistic than they may have been over the last few years, and especially with Zach Wilson, is that Zach Wilson got thrusted into playing week 1, played a few weeks, didn't look that great, didn't look sharp, looked a mess, looked lost, gets hurt, sits out a few weeks, basically on the sideline, and comes in and he looked like a better quarterback. He looked like he was better when he returned to action later in the season.
Yeah, he did have a good
and they went out, they made some improvements, they picked up some extra players, they got an extra hell of a wide receiver in the draft. So, and they got some pressure on defense. What, so like you could see that slowly starting to come together for them. So I don't know, like that's how you just got to kind of remain optimistic at times with certain things, right? But at the end of the day, I'll keep saying this. I will be shocked if Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are both Giants next year. Shocked. It would take a lot because I think we're right there. And again, where I
They
was
both
going
need a
with
big year.
where I was going with this whole fucking story was that it wouldn't be so bad if the Giants did go with the second with next year, and let's say it is Daniel Jones that gets the actual, maybe Jones and Barkley, right? And we do have to go spend that pick on a quarterback. Well, imagine this quarterback doesn't have to start week one, right? I mean, you saw it with Justin Fields. He clearly needed a little bit more time, and they tried to have that bridge with Andy Dalton, but maybe a Webb, and again, this is just saying that it's like the worst case ever. A Webb and a Taylor next year to start the season could be that bridge. And then this kid comes in a month or so into the season, and then he takes off, and we know he's our guy.
Well, we're going to have 17 games to answer that question. So we look forward to next year. But
that's right.
I think we're going to take a week off Memorial Week, Jules. What do you say? Should we tell the Giant fan we're going to take that week off? It's a slow week. It's Memorial Weekend. Everything's off.
Right. Maybe just a couple of quick Jules shorts throughout the week. The whole just always popping off. Memorial Day weekend. But yeah, since we moved the broadcasting to Monday nights, I don't see why that wouldn't make sense. Not to have to work on come in and do this on Memorial Day. Because either way, I would be shot. If we tried to do it like early on, I'd probably be recovered from Sunday night. If we did it any later, who knows where I'll be. So, I might just be sleeping by 7, 8 o'clock on Monday. Who knows? So, it's definitely keep that one open. I would say. Yeah. But and wasn't it? No, sorry. I was just trying to think. Didn't you have someone that you thought was stepping up from the OTAs though this past weekend, and today?
Just our tight end. That was the only guy I noticed that was just making plays everywhere. I think he caught a touchdown today. Showed up answering all the questions the right way, doing all the right things around. He's trying to show everybody that he's not just this fantastic blocker, which he is, but he's catching the ball left and right, man. Like I'm telling you, that's a sneaky pick to draft. If you need to draft a late tight end in like round 13 in fantasy, you throw him up there because he could come up and he could be a decent part of this offense,
Well, you know what it is with that? It's again, so tight end usually, right? Granted, we had Kyle Pitts last year, and I know there's a few other exceptions, but generally speaking, they usually take like 1 or 2 years to develop into the NFL tight end style and really know what to do and step up, and that's when they become who they are.
He looks way ahead of that.
He might be, and what's great is we don't need him to be that guy this year. We don't, not this year. Maybe next year he could step up in year 2. But he doesn't need to in year 1, which is fantastic. So, he probably doesn't start week 1. Who knows how much first couple of weeks. But, it's not necessary. I mean, look, if he just keeps fighting his way on the field and the dude's just a beast and, he's tossing guys and he's catching balls and all this kind of shit, he's going to play. Yeah. But you know what? He's got some time to develop on top of it. So, it's encouraging to see him, responding to the offense as well as he is and picking it up as fast as he is. And knowing that his strength is with run blocking in addition to having really good hands, you know what? That's the type of stuff you look for when you're looking at these OTAs. Guys that are pushing, guys that are catching on to these playbooks and these plays a lot quicker than most, right? Mm-hmm. And I hate to keep shouting them out, but I already told you I'm on Team Robinson. So you take a guy like Tony who it took him forever to catch on for everything last year. And look, maybe some of that was that Gettleman loved him as the pick, but Jason Garrett didn't really know how to fit him into his offensive scheme, or didn't know how to make things work around him, or maybe the guy wasn't getting it. Who knows?
Yeah, the story came out that he wasn't prepared.
Right.
Tony, that's the thing. So I kind of believe that because you can believe that with a lot of rookies, not just him, but in New York, it's a whole bigger issue than what it kind of really is.
No, it's so true. So
until he gets cut. Once he gets cut, then it's like, all right, what a waste of time,
look, like I said, like if you really just take a note at all the things that Giants, sure, we held on to Blake Martinez, sure, we held on to Sterling Shepard, we held on to a couple of those type of guys, but for the most part, Bradbury gone, Logan gone, Hernandez gone, Evan Ingram gone. I mean, those are some big names that were drafted high and had a lot of big expectations when they came into this Giants team, and they're gone. That shit is all gone, man. Like I said, that entire offensive line
Sailed.
that was a joke of last year, basically, is gone. That whole shit is gutted out with the exception of Andrew Thomas. And now we added Evan Neal to it with all the other replacements. I mean, look, I definitely think that things are heading in that right direction. And I keep saying that this year is to sort of see where there's still some glaring issues, because there's going to be. I don't care what team it is. Shit, there's glaring issues on the Rams right now, and they just won the Super Bowl. Okay. But that's what starts to happen is those issues become smaller and smaller, and they're less than less on your team. And that's where we need to start plugging and playing and feeling out what we have. And I think that's really going to be, next year. But I'm excited for this draft. I'm on board with our first 3 picks, very much so. I'm liking what we're seeing from this tight end. I think we may have a hit on a late round linebacker. We'll see. With what we drafted in McFadden and Beavers. So there's some talent there. There really is. The safeties, I think the Giants, like you said, are going to be a little better than what people think, but we're just not there yet. That's why I keep trying to pull that back just a little bit. If healthy, under this better staff, regutted the whole offensive line, went out and got a right tackle that could play left tackle on almost every other team. It's the right, you're going down the right avenues. Where I still see some issues, and I'm gonna harp on this all year long, is with your boy Barkley, with Jones, with Galladay, Shepard, with Tony. Some of those guys gotta actually play. They gotta step up and play. Jones, we all know, was in his final year with this, but so is Barkley. Look, man, Barkley can't do what he did last year again this year.
We'll see, Jules. Youngest team in football.
Didn't we say that like 2 years ago, something like that?
Still are.
Still one of the youngest teams in football.
The youngest teams in football. So let's see, man. Let's see if they mature.
I mean, look, they for
wrap this up.
For people that are out there that just real quick are thinking about it, where maybe there shouldn't be as much faith in Daniel Jones as some of us put and some of us don't. And we're going to give him this year. We'll see what it's all there for. It speaks volume when you see a guy like Matt Corral, who ended up going to Washington in the 3rd round. We could have taken him in the 3rd round. Yes, we got another offensive lineman. Yes, we got I can't even think right now because I didn't double check, but I always forget the rounds a little mixed up. But we definitely had a couple good picks in that 3rd round. But we could have taken a Matt Corral. If they were that concerned, we could have taken him there. And
doesn't seem like they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering that we didn't have to, we didn't need a quarterback. I mean, at that point in time, a Matt Corral there sitting down. I mean, he fell the 3rd round. So did freaking Malik the Freak. I mean, so we didn't take it. We didn't take it there is my point. And that says something. So we'll see. Like I said, apparently they're taking the brakes off of Jones. And we'll really see if it's him that has the issue with the turnover or if this guy can really take that next step. That all remains to be seen this season. It's going to be fun as we get a lot closer down the line. We'll have some guests on. Hopefully we'll get some of these haters going, and we'll be bringing it to you like we always do. Just keeping it real.
That's it.
All right, Mike, you got anything else to add? We're going to wrap this one off for sure. No. It's just the 2 of us tonight. We just get a few things in. We'll be back next week. But then Memorial Day will probably take a little bit of a patriotic break for the Memorial Day weekend. Vacay. But for then, haters, stay out there on Twitter. We'll be watching for you. Come at us all the time. We love it. But this wraps up this week's episode of the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. And, we'll be back next Monday. We'll see you then. We'll have a new list of haters because they're always out there.
Mm-hmm.
See you later. Peace.
Peace.